Hello and welcome back to Better Than Adventure. When you're in water, a skeleton isn't just an annoyance, it's a mortal threat that very well might kill you. Welcome back. I've been lighting stuff up. Look, there's the mansion over there. And there's my starter house. I don't think I've ever been here. Like in this island from this angle. I probably was like here at the beginning of the, oops. I was probably here like, searching for land at the beginning when I started my, epic Minecraft journey. However, I don't think that I was, here back then when I was, building the mansion or whatever, so this island didn't really get the attention it deserved. And from over here, it's kind of cool, because you both see, the mansion over there, sort of, the render distance is a bit tight, and over there is the house. Of course, we really can't do anything against the skeleton until it gets back onto the land, but now, yeah, it's dead. I'm gonna light up that island as well. By the way, isn't this funny? I know it feels like, and that's kind of the funny thing, sometimes it feels like, oh my, why is that island so full of enemies? Sometimes it feels like, oh wow, in beta you're so far away, and then you're really not. Yeah, but this island's been a huge fucking thorn in my side for so long, this was where, yeah, this is where I was first testing out the, hand cannon. Ow! Did I blow up a chicken? Whatever. Come here. Let's see. Ow. Ow! How did that hit me? The second one, not the first one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Doesn't put up much of a fight. And there we go. I'm gonna go back to base now. I don't know what I'm gonna be doing this episode at all. I think I'm gonna have to think of what to build. Which I should have done before recording. Wait, what did it say? I don't even know. Yeah. Hey, look, a boat. Herobrine's boat? Herobrine's house, question mark. One of the stupidest videos I made on this channel was, when I just kind of... My only reaction video to date, well, there were 2 of them technically, but I just went through a bunch of ancient, Herobrine sighting videos that someone was nice enough to compile for me. Just, I don't know who it was. I don't know who made the list. However, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. It was really funny. I really love the one where it was just a bunch of screenshots and music from Meet the Spy. That's honestly, it was just like a slideshow. And that's honestly one of my favorites, just because it's so funny. Now, I'm just gonna... Everybody likes to have a nice storage system until they just get lazy. Anyways, yeah, time to, yeah, I'm gonna need more of these. Yeah, come in. And yeah, I'm gonna use half slabs. I know it's like stupidish. I don't know. I don't care. There we go. Should be enough. Yeah, honestly, if there's one thing I regret with my YouTube career, it's whenever I didn't do something because I didn't know I could do it. Like, yeah, yeah, I don't know. My workflow was very much when I feel like it. It's a benefit of not having YouTube as a job. A benefit which only extends to people like me. Wait, did I do this? I made the wrong thing! And 4 stacks of it. Whatever. So how do we do this? I don't want to just have it go straight. I'll do it like up to here somewhere. And you know what? We'll use the half slabs. Shit. Yeah. Wait, actually, wait a minute. So if we turn around, as you can see here, this 6 turns into 4. Okay. I have an idea. We'll only have this in these 2. And then the rest we'll see. So what do we want to do? I want one path to go here, like off of here, sorta. Yeah, like I want a diagonal-ish bridge here. So I want to go a little bit forward. But yeah. Sometimes, I don't know. So the system I have with comments, if you aren't aware. Yeah, well, first of all, I have to warn you, sometimes YouTube will randomly delete your comment. Sometimes it randomly delete my reply. I don't understand why. It's been an issue for a while. They haven't fixed it for whatever reason. I don't know. But what I do know is that basically I have every single comment by default on, like, manually verify, you know, holding all comments. The way I do it, personally, is I just do that just because that gives me an incentive to read them. And then, if there's a lot of comments, like if one of the videos is getting a lot of views, then I just turn that off. Is it kind of stupid? Yes, but it's the way I do it. I probably shouldn't be bothering anymore, but yeah. Okay, yeah. So what I'll have to do here now... Yeah, what's kind of funny is there were only a few times that I had to, like, delete something because, one of the people was, like, genuinely being an asshole, and, oh, wow, was that It was a very creative insult, I have to say. He also did tell me to get a job in a field that actually pays really well. Apparently. I don't know why. Also, I don't remember what video it was even on. I think it may have been chances are it was probably a Nintendo fan who got a little bit upsetty spaghetti. Which, kids, even if you do get upsetty spaghetti at your local YouTuber, like, just having a bit of a breakdown in the comments is not recommended. It's not recommended at all. And that's basically it. I don't know. I'm thinking I don't have much more to add. I mean, I do, because the thing is, right, back in the day, I think, honestly, yeah, back in the day, comments on YouTube did get more toxic in a, you know, sort of, you know, childish, oh, fuck you, buddy, kind of way. Nowadays, it's a lot more passive, you know, people aren't as likely to call you, like, a fuckstick. For whatever reason, it's fallen out of fat. Wait, I'm gonna do this diagonally. You know, it's kind of fallen out of fashion for whatever reason, but it is what it is. Kind of good, honestly. I don't know. It's one of those things, right, where you gotta be kind of objective with, like, you know, the old internet, because very clearly, a lot of people have nostalgia for the old internet for a lot of reasons. Some of those reasons are valid. In some ways, it was better than the one we have today. But in a lot of ways, it also really wasn't. I mean, harassment back then was way more common, just for instance. And yeah, maybe you yourself didn't, you know, have that sort of shit happen to you. But very often, the people who didn't have that shit happen to them were people who weren't, you know, public-facing people back then. You know, so like, maybe you, who was only, you know, viewing videos back then, didn't have those experiences, but trust me, people did. Yeah. Thankfully, I was just like you. I didn't have any public-facing stuff back then, so I didn't have any negative experiences. And I think that also clouds my view of that sort of stuff, even if, you know, I try to not have it cloud my view, but alas, it can tend to. What are the, oh, I need stone. I need stone, and I just turned all of my stone into polished stone. What do you do in this situation? Well, you take your coal, you put it into the oven. I have a lot of ovens, and we'll do that, and then we'll get coal. And what's nice is that I have blocks of coal. Now, because the developers were nice, for whatever, ooh, 26, wow. Because the developers were nice, one block of coal only eats up, like, one block of coal only takes up 8, not 16, sorry, not 9, Bowser Jr. math, I don't even know why I say that. It'd be Donkey Kong Jr., but whatever. The reason why I say, you know, the reason why I say it was nice, because if you think about it, so how much coal does it take to smelt a stack? 8. How much does a block of coal have? 8 now, not 9. So when you put one in, it'll just smoke the entire stack. Not smoke, smelt, whatever. It's a really nice system, and I'm really happy it's in the game, because if it wasn't, things would be more annoying. So you can just do this. And if you're wondering, well, isn't this kind of a large amount of stone? Do you know how much stone there is in the underground? How many double chests are full of all the different kinds of stone? Do you? Cause let me think. I can't even think. There's just a stupidly large amount. Okay, if we run out of stone, that'll be an achievement somehow, somewhere. Also, one nice thing is there's something called the CTR. Now, not Crash Team Racing, mind you, as cool as that is, but a click-through rate. Now, for those who don't know what a click-through rate is, it's, well, what is the percentage of people who, you know, clicked on your, you know, who saw your video title and clicked on it? And, I'm not a graphic designer, so my thumbnails aren't very good, but I did get, like, or right now it's at 9.8%. Actually, yeah. I mean, click-through rate doesn't really matter much. It matters early on. Here's a YouTube pro tip. It only matters early on because as your video gets more popular, your click-through rate will naturally sort of fall down. Because the way YouTube works is it first shows your videos to people its most share will click on it, and then depending on how many of those people click, it may show it to a wider audience. Yeah, and right now, I don't really know what metrics to compare it to, because I run a bunch of different stuff on my channel. It's like I do the video stuff you'd see now and the more detailed stuff. And yeah, so there's not much to compare. Also, I just kind of included, yeah, I don't know. Very clearly, if you watch any of those videos, you'll see that I have a pro-good game agenda. And that I am, when I talk about good and bad games, I don't say, in my opinion, because, well, for a few reasons, and I do want to cover this eventually, because if I don't, it will become a contentious issue eventually. Whenever you talk about this sort of stuff, two things. Number one, I believe that you don't have to say it's your opinion, because it should always be assumed that it's your opinion. You know? Like, you know, it's not like you have to state, oh, in my humble opinion. No. In my humble opinion, you don't have to say it's in your opinion. It should always be assumed. It's also why, I mean, you sometimes see there's like a YouTuber review grift going on where somebody says that their review is objective. Something is objectively bad. And it's really funny because there's a lot of... It's not like... It's cultural stuff, right? Where somebody's like, oh, the new Star Wars is objectively bad. But, like, come on. You know yourself that doesn't function. Because all that you can... Okay, like, how do I explain this? Okay, so... When you have an objective thing, right? Like, let's take an objective statement, right? No subjectivity at all. Bubsy 3D uses tank controls. The enemies in Bubsy 3D use ranged attacks that home in on use ranged attacks, and they can sometimes be, you know, range attacks, and the hitboxes are pretty small, which some players may find difficult. Now, what I've said here is a completely objective statement, you know? The issue is, it doesn't mean anything. But if I then added, you know, and then those, you know, and then those hitboxes make the game, you know, more frustrating. If I then said, and those tank controls make the game feel worse, I am already adding, you know, subjectivity to my statement, because who's the arbiter of what feels jankier, you know? Like, yeah, sure, I assume most people will find tank controls jankier than, you know, full 360 analog movement. But that's because we're applying our standards to it, you know? Like, and our standards were influenced by all of those other games which also didn't use tank controls. Like, you know, there are a lot of, you know, hypothetically, right? If Crash Bandicoot never came out, you know, if Mario 64 used tank controls or whatever, we would still have, like, you know, maybe we would still have tank controls today, hopefully not, but, you know, it's a possibility. And the truth is, every single time somebody says, like, oh, my opinion is objective or whatever, it never is. It's always a grift. Never fall for it, please. Like, learn how to spot this stuff. It helps you, well, if nothing else, stay a little bit more sane. And it's also one of those things where, like, I mean, I've seen people have made, like, entire careers just off of debunking all the stupid shit that's said online. And sometimes I wonder, would that be fun to do? And honestly, maybe. However, I would never want to make my personal, like, you know, channel just about debunking people being wrong. Because there's an infinite amount of those on the internet. Eventually, you just have to realize that some fights really aren't worth fighting. Even if and it's kind of like one of those things, right? It's really good to fight against, you know, misinformation or whatever, and people being wrong, but you never want to be the one who's fighting, because that's tiring and frustrating. So there's always the wish that, oh, I really hope somebody else does it for me. And then, you know, I mean, it is what it is. How does this look? Not awful. Maybe. I don't know. Huh. If only this could horizontally attach itself. Yeah. Well, also another thing, I couldn't be as mean as a lot of those people deserve to be mean towards, because I am just not a person who does that. It's not like I'd respect them. God, no. I don't respect most of those people. Like, why would I? But it still. Will this get me on bad terms with them? I don't care. Like, yeah, I mean, on one hand, yeah, and also, like, if one of those bastards tries anything, yeah, they won't, because I'm not a big enough fish for the Grifter machine to mobilize against. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. It is still funny to have, like, a man who's, like, twice my age. Fucking rage. Be absolutely livid at video games. Dude, it's it's funny. Just fucking... And a part of me does wonder how much of it is fake. How much of this stuff is actually them caring, and how much of it is just the grift. But, like, a part of me doesn't care. Because it's still harmful, regardless of if they're being genuine, you know? If Garfield is being SRS or whatever. But yeah. What can you really do? I mean, you can report the videos to YouTube, and then they loosened what they consider unacceptable for speech. Yay! Now half the video can be, like, evil or whatever. Which I think is gonna be kind of funny. Because I'm just gonna predict right now that there's gonna be, like, an adpocalypse eventually. Depending on how things go. Because, like, you know, it's kind of like one of those, how do I explain this, right? Like, because YouTube has a lot of weird policies, but the issue is, that, YouTube can only get worse, apparently. You know, and shittification of media. Would have been funnier if YouTube, like, the funny thing is, right, people are like, oh yeah, YouTube's gonna stop policing speech. No. Especially if the speech affects shareholder profits. It's just that YouTube made the executive decision that the shareholders would be happier if they made a stupid decision, because the shareholders need to be kept happy. It's your legal duty in America. You have to keep the shareholders happy. And the shareholders are really afraid of anything that moves. They're like a little animal. You have to you have to keep the shareholders happy no matter what. They're gonna like run away and leave. But yeah, that's why you don't go public unless you want to sell the company. If I had a company, I would not go public unless I'm going public to sell the company, and, you know, to sell all of my fucking shares, and, to get the fuck out of there. because if you're not aware, public companies answer to the shareholders. Private companies, like Steam, only answer to their own employees. And by answer to their employees, I don't mean in the, Karl Marx way. I mean in the, pay needs to be given to employees. And that is it. That is, like, it for private companies. Public, not so much. Of course, then, that's also kind of different when people talk about private-public, because these are still technically, like, they're not, like, state-run or whatever the fuck, But I don't know. Generally, in my humble opinion, the most difficult part about all of this stuff is trying to explain some stuff to, like, some people. For instance, the whole public transit debacle, where in most of the civilized world, which is, I guess, well, everything but Antarctica, there's some form of public transit. Even in, no, wait, Antarctica still has quote-unquote public, quote-unquote transit, because it's still technically, whatever. Everywhere has everything is technically civilized. Except maybe wherever the fuck the wasp nest that keeps sending them is. That's under the control of the evil wasps. Probably the same ones from Buck Bumble. But yeah, like, maybe the moon is the cause, I don't know. But, generally speaking, if you want to have, like, public transit in the hands of private companies, you will be hitting reality and problems very quickly. Because, you know what a long-term and a short-term goal is, right? Like, for instance, for you, a long-term goal may be, get a job, you hippie. However, a short-term goal may be, get a sandwich. However, the long-term goal is kind of harder to get, right? And if your stomach was in control of everything that had to happen, your stomach will only get the sandwich. Similarly, if you have a public transit company that is controlled by, private equity, that isn't actually, state-run or whatever, they only care about profits, they will basically only try to saturate routes that make money. Meanwhile, if you're a public company, if you're run by the government, you can have other goals. For instance, why not improve transit? Maybe to a bit better than it should be right now, but if we improve transit in this, less developed area, we could make people want to live there more, We can help develop it. Such a thing is not possible with private companies, because, well, a public company only has to answer to, whatever the fuck decisions they make. A private company needs to answer to shareholders, and shareholders do not like it when you're helping poor people. No, 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 no. You only need to make money. And that's kind of it. Haven't got much more to add. I'll see you next time when we, continue doing this. Bye-bye.